Watch News starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. A cool, cloudy morning throughout the 4 states with a little bit of a wind. We need that wind to go away. Here's Michael with a check of your forecast.
And some rain as well up in the northern portion of the 4 states. That's the same place where we saw the majority of it fall yesterday morning. So now we turn our attention to the rivers and streams as everything progresses from the northern part of southeast Kansas across the state line into southwest Missouri. Get below that line and everybody else going to be on the dry side for the morning. We do have the heavy cloud cover, as Tanya alluded to, with temperatures right now ranging in the mid to high 40s. Yet to see 50 pop up, so considerably different than what we had yesterday. Now that the cold front has kind of settled in from the northwest, pushing down to the southeast, all the way to the Mississippi River. Going to keep us a little bit of chill in the air for the morning hours, able to still make it up into the mid 60s here a little bit later on. As this rain progresses through for the morning, it's not going to last all day long, even as it turns over on itself. It really does want to stay up to the north, and then by the time we get to tomorrow, we are beginning to, number one, calm down, number two, warm up. We've got 70s on the board for Friday, and then we get hit by another cold front just in time for Friday night into Saturday. Saturday, going to be hard to get to 60 degrees, but then Sunday closing it out with mostly sunny skies and highs in the mid 70s.
Is that rain today going to be like it was yesterday, where some of the areas get it and the other areas?
Mainly to the north. We're not going to see the ones pop up from the south like we did yesterday.
All right. Thanks, Michael. On Wednesday, PSU reported 0 new coronavirus cases from the prior week and said it's part of a campus trend that started back on March 10th. And they're not the only 4-state college seeing success battling COVID-19. Quick glance at MSSU's COVID-19 dashboard shows the Joplin College also reporting 0 new cases last week, which happens to be the week after students returned from spring break.
We were a little bit worried since we took the regular spring break. We were very pleased to see that cases have still continued on a downward path.
Health officials at both colleges credit the encouraging campus COVID-19 data to student populations and faculty that take the pandemic restrictions very seriously. Some 4-staters reported side effects from the second COVID-19 dose. Dr. Eden Esguro with Mercy Hospital in Joplin says the potential side effects are broken up into 2 categories, what they call local and systemic. The local side effects come from where you actually get the shot in your arm and usually include pain, redness, and swelling, which Dr. Esguro says are quite common. It's the systemic effects, which are felt throughout your body, like fever, aches, and pains and nausea, which are causing more discomfort.
You just get Tylenol, or sometimes the non-steroidals, the Motrin, ibuprofen, and they are expected to go away within 24 hours or so. You make sure you are hydrated, and you might need to cut back on your regular daily activities.
That'll be a stick.
Dr. Esguro wants to remind folks who are vaccinated to continue to wear a mask if they're with people who are not fully vaccinated. Medical marijuana supply in southwest Missouri is growing. For the last several months, medical marijuana dispensaries have been slowly adding to the product lines as more product becomes available. It's been a long road for infused product facilities that sell things like edibles and concentrates to dispensaries, but products are starting to hit the market more and more.
We have quite a few more cultivators coming up. We have more manufacturing facilities, so supply is doing a lot better now than it was when we first opened, for sure. So it's just a matter of a little more patience, and we'll see it improve.
Flora Farms, a company with a cultivation facility in Humansville, tells us their operation has been up and going for 3 months. So the flower they produce is being sold to dispensaries across the state. St. Louis has elected its first black woman mayor. Tishura Jones defeated fellow Democrat Kara Spencer in Tuesday's election with 51.68% of the vote. She has served as the city's treasurer since 2013. This is her second bid for mayor. Jones will take over for Lyda Cruzen, who became the city's first woman mayor after winning the 2017 election. Jones will become St. Louis's third black mayor and first since 2001. Racial issues have been a large part of Jones's campaign.
St. Louis, this is an opportunity for us to rise. But I told you when I was running that we aren't done avoiding tough conversations. We are done ignoring the racism that has held our city and our region back.
Jones will be sworn into office April 20th. New York police say they have a person of interest in custody after a visitor from Kansas City, Kansas was shot and wounded in New York. They say the shooter opened fire on someone else near the city's Penn Station this morning, but he missed and struck 44-year-old Chris Ruby, fracturing his collarbone and a shoulder blade. Ruby was later released from the hospital and he flew back home later in the day. The gunman fled the scene after the shooting, but police later said 21-year-old Brenovan Martinez is in custody, facing assault and other charges. Officials described him as a reputed gang member with a long rap sheet. It's 5:07.
Here's a look at the rain on our Thursday morning from the Skywatch Storm Tracker. No lightning with this one, but coming down pretty good now in between Fort Scott and Mound City, and then just on the east side of Iola, making its way across the Missouri state line. Temperatures going to be up into the high 60s later on today. Gradually clearing skies. Pretty good west wind. Gonna whip in 35-mile-per-hour gusts here later on. Friday's going to be a warm one all the way up into the 70s. Saturday's going to be a cool one all the way down to the high 50s.
All right. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, mask mandates.
Face masks have become a fabric of life over the past year in this country, but that's about to end for a lot of Americans. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on the continuing push to end mask mandates, even amid some pretty strong opposition. That's coming up.
Plus, the Carthage is back on the field facing COC rival Neosho at the 46th annual Bill O'Dell baseball tournament. We'll have highlights from the game and a look at some of the privacy concerns surrounding COVID-19 vaccine passports. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
'46th annual Bill O'Dell baseball tournament rolling on in Carthage. Tournament host Tigers picked up a 17-7 win over Monette on Tuesday in their first game of the tournament. Last night, Carthage back on the field, this time against COC rival Neosho. Good start for the Wildcats in the first. River Brill gets a strikeout, and then Brill with some help from his catcher, Eli Czar. Do not run on Eli Czar. Game still scoreless to the third. Wildcats on the board. Czar had a game now. Line drive into left center. Back plates two. Neosho up 3-0. Here comes Carthage in the bottom half of the inning. Nate Norbury. Oh, my goodness. Caden Caveman scores. More from the Tigers. Max Templeman. Blooped that one in there. Good enough to score a run. Stayed tight. Carthage goes on and wins this thing 10-9. Only other game yesterday in Carthage was Mount Vernon taking on Seneca, and Mountaineers win it 11-7. Tournament continues today. We got the championship game then on Friday night. Kansas City Royals off to a solid start this season. They've won 3 of their first 4 games, including game 1 of a quick 2-game set against Cleveland Tuesday night. KC looking to take game 2 before heading out to Chicago today. Scoreless in the 4th, Salvador Perez. Solo home run. Royals have the first run of the game. Shane Bieber settles down for Cleveland after that. Bieber throws 6 1/3, allows just 2 runs, strikes out 12. Cleveland takes the lead with Jose Ramirez. 2-run shot to make it 2-1. Ramirez drives in all of Cleveland's runs. Royals fall 4-2. As for the St. Louis Cardinals, going for a 3-game sweep over the Marlins and getting it done, a shutout, 7-0 the final. Dylan Carlson drives in 4 runs for St. Louis. Yesterday, a big day for a few Webb City High School seniors. 3 Webb City students signing to continue their careers in college. 2 of them going to play basketball at the next level. JD Duda, she is headed to Crowder, while Sierra Kimbrough crossing the state line into Kansas, where she is going to play for the Bethany Swedes. Shay Knoll joining one of the best JUCO programs in the entire country. Going to play baseball for Travis Lallemand and the Crowder Rough Riders.
They made me really feel like I was at home over there. They were awesome to my family, and it made me pull the trigger. Coach Lallman really, he made the impact when we went there. The way he treated us there was really good.
We have a good group of freshmen coming in, and hopefully we all get to chip in a little bit and play and give our best.
My first year is to start to get a lot of playing time and to improve and to show that I'm one of the best players, that the player that I know I am. Is that my goal right now, is to play a lot.
Lions in the final week of the spring volleyball schedule. Lions are 5-9 right now and have won 2 of their last 3 going into last night. Southern with a shot for a big win, hosting 13th ranked Washburn. In the first set, Alyssa Diaz down the line with a kill. She led the team with 10 kills last night. Lions making Washburn work for the set. Down 24-22 here, Sydney Fitzgibbons finds the opening, but Washburn takes a close first one. In the second set, Southern with the lead now. Janelle Brem goes cross court for Washburn. Ichabod's go on a run, take the second set and the third one as well. Lions fall 3 sets to none. Now Southern finishes up the schedule this weekend before the conference tournament begins next week.
I think we utilize, the feeling of disappointment and hunger to go get another win before the season is over. I am just looking for us to continue to get better. Staying true to who we are and constantly growing across the board, and that's just all I can ask for.
Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the psychological impact of the coronavirus.
New research reveals the impact of COVID. I'm Ian Lee with how scientists say the virus can affect your brain.
And to check on our 7-day forecast and Thursday morning rain when the KOAM Morning News returns. 5:17 on this Thursday morning. Great time for weather on the 7s. Perfect time to check out the heavy rain that's coming down in the northern portion of the 4 states. We haven't picked up any watches or warnings. We're without lightning, unlike what we had yesterday, but also too, we're really seeing it increase here right along the Kansas-Missouri state line, just north of Fort Scott and Nevada up toward Mound City. And it really doesn't back off after you get to the northwest of Iola up through Burlington. We've got another good band that's rolling through. And of course, this is the same area that was dominated by yesterday morning's rain as well. So when we take a look at the 48-hour accumulation numbers, we are pressing up close to 3 inches up in the far north right there. Of course, tapers off as you get down to the south, and unlike yesterday, we're not going to see anything pop up from Oklahoma and Arkansas and work its way into southwest Missouri. That's going to stay dry really from the central portion all the way down. It is a whole lot cooler now that the trough of the jet stream with the swirl right there is pushed all the way to the Mississippi River. That cold front, got to remember, even yesterday was right here. So it was able to move and move fast, with the majority of the heaviest thunderstorm activity for Thursday going to stay along that leading edge. Ours is not looking anything severe, but it is definitely cool. Wind chills are at now in the mid 40s. These are actual temperatures. 48 in Joplin, 49 in Parsons, and 46 in Nevada. As the wind comes in currently from the west, hasn't been too bad, but we are going to get wind gusts of 30 miles per hour here later on this afternoon. Eventually it'll shift and give us some warmer temperatures to close out the week. Today's really not too bad. After we get rid of that AM rain, we'll have gradually clearing skies for the afternoon and evening hours. Still get some pretty good shot of sunshine there before it's all said and done, and highs around 68. Overnight, the wind is going to move in from the south, and that's going to take us from the 60s in one day to the 70s on Friday. But speaking of Friday, that's when we'll have additional thunderstorm activity for Friday night into Saturday. What we'll watch it do for Friday is originate out to the west of us, more southerly flow than what we're experiencing today, where everything kind of stays to the north. But it carries us from Friday night into Saturday morning, and we do show up on the good old severe thunderstorm risk map. That elevated area down through portions of Texas, Louisiana, and then the deep south kind of avoids even Arkansas. So remember, the light green just indicates thunderstorm activity. We do see a little portion of our highlighted counties in what's considered the minimal area. Now on Friday, how about mid to high 70s? But after that, those thunderstorms roll through Friday night into Saturday, is very reminiscent of what we had for yesterday, where temperatures are going to fall down to the high 50s on Saturday. But then we're going to close out the weekend with a whole lot of sunshine, highs around 74 degrees. Look at that far right-hand side there on the 7 day. I'm down to 50s next week. All right, time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. A growing number of states are coming forward with their own plans to use so-called COVID-19 vaccine passports. Although there's no federal plan to implement any kind of passport system in the U.S., the issue is already raising both equity and security concerns. Nadia Romero with the story.
COVID-19 digital vaccine passports quickly becoming a divisive issue and raising privacy concerns. And as some states figure out how to implement them, tech giants are teaming up with health organizations to make their digital COVID pass a reality for consumers.
This is a way for people to get back to our new normal in a safe way.
The Vaccination Credential Initiative has teamed up companies including IBM, Microsoft, Salesforce, and Oracle with the Mayo Clinic and the Commons Project, a nonprofit with the Vaccine Passport app currently working with some airlines.
You get your vaccination or you have your COVID-19 test, you're negative. If you have a smartphone, you download it onto your Apple Wallet or your Google Pay and you store it in there.
But not everyone is on board. While the companies say no location or medical data will be stored on the apps, that concern might raise concerns for potential users. There's also equity concerns.
Fred, not everybody has a smartphone. I have lots of patients with flip phones, with those little burner phones.
The Vaccination Credential Initiative is playing a key role in developing U.S. standards and guidelines for these digital health passes and says it's up to each community and institution to decide how to use the apps.
I think some employers are making a decision to require vaccination, and I think the EEOC issued a ruling in December that is up to employers to be able to make that decision.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Nadia Romero.
While several states, including New York and Hawaii, have embraced the idea, you got other states like Florida, for instance, that have actually moved to ban these vaccine passports. Our question on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll asking, do you think passports are a good idea? Let us know why or why not, and leave your vote on the Insta poll. All you have to do is go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. We'll continue to not only pass along your comments, but update the poll throughout the course of the show. Come back, do a little health watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, more states are getting rid of mask mandates, leaving the issue to local leaders and local businesses who now have to make their own calls about whether to require face coverings. Kevin Cork reports.
I've been getting a lot of calls today, specifically from different people asking about the mask mandate.
With more states eyeing an end to face mask requirements, local leaders and businesses are scrambling to try to determine the best safety practices for their counties and customers. Alabama's mask mandate expires this Friday, but in cities like Birmingham, officials say folks can still expect to wear facial coverings at least until May 24th.
I'm tired of this whole face mask conversation being political.
When it comes to wearing a face mask, at least to some, the benefit far outweighs the inconvenience.
I think it helps protect people, it helps keep my staff safe, and it just helps everybody being on the same page.
Meanwhile, in Utah, masks will no longer be required in public come Saturday. However, in the state capital, Salt Lake City, local officials have decided to keep the mask mandate in place. In other places throughout the state, it'll be up to store owners to decide their own policies.
It really depends on if these businesses feel like it's in the best interest of their employees and their patrons to have masks in place. And of course, we would respect that.
Meanwhile, over in the Lone Star State, Texas ended its mask mandate almost a month ago. But now that is happening even as some people continue to push forward with the idea of possible vaccine passports.
The state governor there, Greg Abbott, has actually prohibited any state agency from requiring them. Teens who frequently see billboards or storefront ads for marijuana are more likely to use the drug and have symptoms of cannabis use disorder. Research in the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs found those teens were 7 times more likely to use than their peers who never saw the ads. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Heavy rain in the northern portion of the 4 states for a Thursday morning. We're not picking up any lightning right now. It's making its way from northern southeast Kansas across the state line into southwest Missouri. Really coming down right now just to the north side of Fort Scott and Nevada. So if you got to be on 69 or I-49 headed north, that's what you're going to run into. It's going to last a couple more hours because you can tell there's still quite a bit behind it. So it's not going to be one of those quick ones. However, south portion, it is going to stay dry. Temperatures today in the high 60s, more thunderstorm activity Friday night into Saturday.
Pitt State and Missouri Southern report no new COVID cases on campus. What health officials say is behind this encouraging data. Plus tips on how you can curb some of the side effects of getting the vaccine, and more medical marijuana dispensaries open in Missouri. How supply is keeping up with demand.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. A cool, cloudy morning throughout the 4 states with a little bit of a wind gust. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
And rain up in the north. Got a good batch coming down here just north of Fort Scott and Nevada, rolling over across Highway 69 and about ready to overtake I-49. Haven't had any lightning with it. And after you get on the south side of that band, drop down into northeast Oklahoma, southern southwest Missouri, and central southeast Kansas, pretty much going to be on the dry side all day long. Temperatures, a little bit chilly, mid to high 40s right now as the wind moves in from the west. Eventually, it's going to shift on us. The heaviest thunderstorm activity for the United States is actually on the other side of the Mississippi. Ours just has heavy rain with it, no lightning or nothing severe. We don't have any watches or warnings out. Gradually clearing off here for the afternoon hours, but as the wind shifts, we'll actually get some gusts of 35 miles per hour out of the south. By the time we get to Friday, it's Friday night that we turn our attention toward the west because we're going to bubble up again for Friday night, carry us on into Saturday, and a cold front on the backside of that with temperatures only in the high 50s for Saturday afternoon.
All right. Well, it's going to be a little bit chilly this weekend.
Yeah, and Friday's rain too, much more widespread than what we've experienced here on Wednesday and Thursday.
Just keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
All right. At least it's not snow or sleet or something like that.
No. Let's not use no winter.
Is winter over?
Don't give Mother Nature any ideas.
Yeah, I know. I can be hopeful. All right, thanks, Michael. On Wednesday, PSU reported 0 new coronavirus cases from the prior week and said it's part of a campus trend that started back on March 10th. And they're not the only 4 state colleges seeing success battling COVID-19. A quick glance at MSSU's COVID-19 dashboard shows the Joplin College also reporting 0 new cases last week, which happens to be the week after students return from spring break.
We were a little bit worried since we took the regular spring break. We were very pleased to see that cases have still continued on a downward path.
Health officials at both colleges credit the encouraging campus COVID-19 data to student populations and faculty that take the pandemic restrictions very seriously. Some 4-staters report side effects from the second COVID-19 dose. Dr. Eden Esguro with Mercy Hospital in Joplin says the potential side effects are broken up into 2 categories, what they call local and systemic. The local side effects come from where you actually get the shot in your arm and usually include pain, redness, and swelling, which Dr. Esguro says are quite common. It's the systemic effects, which are felt throughout your body, like fever, aches, and pains and nausea, which are causing some discomfort.
You just get Tylenol or sometimes the nonsteroidals, the Motrin, ibuprofen, and they are expected to go away within 24 hours or so. You make sure you are hydrated, and you might need to cut back on your regular daily activities.
Dr. Esguro wants to remind folks who are vaccinated to continue to wear a mask if they are with people who are not fully vaccinated. On Monday, we told you about Joplin's first medical marijuana dispensary opening, but they were not the first in the area. And now that more dispensaries are opening, many are wondering when supply will meet the demand. KOAM's Zach Dodge has how that supply has recently improved.
Blue Sage Cannabis Company's been open in Carthage for around 2 months.
Amazing. It could not be any better.
Their main goal, like many other dispensaries, is helping patients find the medicines they need. something they need cannabis products to do.
We just started with flower at first and edibles, and over time we've slowly been able, as the supply keeps getting bigger and bigger, we're getting more product.
Cassville Dispensary's been open since October and has built relationships with several manufacturers across the state.
We have quite a few more cultivators coming up. We have more manufacturing facilities, so supply is doing a lot better now than it was when we first opened, for sure. But there are still some challenges there. We still run out of things occasionally. Right now, vape carts are very popular.
Medical marijuana was legalized in the state back in November of 2018, more than 2 years ago. But many products like edibles, concentrates, and vape cartridges only recently started hitting the market. Flower has also been hard to come by for some, with dispensaries like Missouri Made Marijuana opening with only a handful of strains. Flora Farms, a company with a dispensary in Neosho and a cultivation facility, says their cultivation operation's been up and going for around 3 months. So products are being sold to dispensaries right now across the state.
We are all trying to be patient, waiting for a lot of those issues to resolve, and they're getting better. So it's just a matter of a little more patience, and we'll see it improve.
Being able to provide different kinds of medicine and different ways to take that medicine is life-changing. I could not be more excited.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Dispensaries we talked to also say as supply continues to increase, the prices will start to decrease. Joplin Schools Foundation yesterday announced the recipients of the 2021 Excellence in Education grants. The grants, nearly $8,000 total, will help area teachers fund projects that, quote, improve or enhance the education experience of Joplin School District students. South Middle School teacher Abby Durr is one of the recipients. She tells us she plans to use the money to buy special tubes to teach students about power sources. It gives her a more hands-on and engaging way to teach her students.
So when I was a kid, I didn't like science because it was all read the book and answer the questions. So I want my kids to love science. So we do lots of activities and labs, hands-on things that help them learn it and help them remember it.
Foundation awarded 5 grants up to $2,000 each and a couple of mini grants. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Another Med Day Thursday. We hear from a doctor from Via Christi about vaccine hesitation and some common misconceptions about getting a shot. Plus, new research from scientists in England find a risk of mental health conditions from COVID. We'll have the details, but first, it's 5:37.
Rain numbers starting to rack up for the northern part of the 4 states, coming off of what we had yesterday morning and continuing through Thursday morning. Not picking up any lightning with it, but that's some heavier rain than what we even saw on Wednesday, spanning from Iola to Fort Scott, just north of Nevada. So if you're on Highway 69 or I-49, that's what you're going to run into. Everybody to the central and southern portions remain on the dry side. We'll gradually clear off later this morning, get a little afternoon sunshine, temperatures able to make it up into the high 60s. Even warmer tomorrow with 70s, but remember, Friday night, thunderstorms carry us in to Saturday. Be back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, new research is revealing more about the psychological impact of the coronavirus. Scientists in England found people diagnosed with COVID-19 at a greater risk of developing a range of psychological and neurological conditions. CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
Discover things, it's allowed me to see things that I otherwise wouldn't have seen.
Ivan Agerton has his dream job, traveling the world as an adventure photographer. But when he returned from his latest assignment, he was diagnosed with COVID.
Because my symptoms were so mild, I wasn't overly concerned.
The father of 3 thought he recovered, but within days, his world turned upside down.
It instantly, like a light switch, I felt this intense paranoia hit me. I couldn't escape it. It kept every single person that I saw would trigger this intense fear.
And how bad did it get?
As I was hearing voices outside the window, I thought I heard people in the bushes.
Doctors eventually linked his condition to COVID. He's not alone. Researchers at Oxford University found 1 in 3 COVID patients in the U.S. developed brain or psychiatric disorders within 6 months of being infected.
As we compared those percentages with people who've been ill with a range of other conditions during the pandemic era,
Dr. Harrison's team found COVID patients were treated more often for a range of disorders, from common ones like anxiety and depression to rare conditions like dementia and psychosis. They hope future studies will reveal why.
Is this, for example, a direct effect of the virus getting into the brain and damaging the brain? Is it inflammation in the brain?
It was absolutely the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Months later, Agerton says he's vaccinated and feeling better.
It is under control right now to an extent.
He hopes sharing his story will give others courage to ask for help. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Scientists also found the sicker people became from COVID, the more likely they were to develop mental health complications. The study is published in the Lancet Psychiatry journal. At least 3 people killed and 17 others wounded in a gas cylinder explosion in Pakistan. The explosion occurred in the kitchen of a local pizza shop in the southern port city of Karachi. Footage from the scene shows nearby shops and villages severely damaged from the blast. The bomb disposal squad was also summoned to the site. An investigation is underway. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, a growing number of states are coming forward with plans to use the so-called COVID-19 vaccine passports. We're asking how you feel, if you think passports are a good idea. Louis Donovan is the first on the board, asking, how does it feel to be fact-checked all the time for your news posts? Just wondering. I'm glad people do it. Ken Peterson says, just the government controlling your travels in the air. Rocky Cunningham. Rocky said, I'd be okay with it just as soon as they start requiring and enforcing it for entry at our southern border. Come on, man. And we do love you, Aunt Pat. Christina Hoffman says, no. Like all other vaccines, this cannot be enforced. We don't have to carry around any proof of the vaccines we've gotten. Michelle Passini, good morning, KOAM and Mama. Good morning, Michelle, and I appreciate your kind words as well. My news fam, part of ours, Michelle. Michelle says, the card you get after receiving the vaccine is fine. Maybe just credit card size, so if you choose to laminate it, you can put it in your wallet with your driver's license. Even the 3x4-inch card is too much. And a passport, she says, waste of money. Michelle, I had that same question occur to me yesterday. I'm like, why is this an index card? Why don't you just give me something I can put in my wallet? Roy Brooks says, horrible idea. And Dave wants to get everybody tattoos. Club member. All right, on the morning Insta poll right now, 57%, just updated, 57% of you say no. You can make your voice heard by going to komnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Mercy Hospital is accepting vaccine appointments from all Missouri adults starting today. That's a day before the state of Missouri opens vaccine registration to all Missouri adults. You can register for an appointment through Mercy's website. You can find a link to make an appointment on our website. On Wednesday, PSU reported 0 new coronavirus cases from the prior week and said it's part of a campus trend that started back on March 10th. And they're not the only 4-state college seeing success battling COVID-19. A quick glance at MSSU's COVID-19 dashboard shows the Joplin College also reporting 0 new cases last week, which happens to be the week after students returned from spring break. Some 4-staters report side effects from the second COVID-19 dose. Dr. Eden Esguro with Mercy Hospital in Joplin says the potential side effects are broken up into 2 categories, what they call local and systemic. The local side effects come from where you actually get the shot in your arm and usually include pain, redness, and swelling, which Dr. Esguro says are quite common. It's the systemic effects, which are felt throughout your body, like fever, aches, and pains and nausea, which are causing some discomfort. Medical marijuana supply in southwest Missouri is growing. For the last several months, medical marijuana dispensaries have been slowly adding to the product lines as more product becomes available. It's been a long road for infused product facilities that sell things like edibles and concentrates to dispensaries. Products are starting to hit the market more and more. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
A look at our Thursday morning rain. It's coming down heavy, right? Just to the north of Fort Scott, now just about through Fort Scott. Kind of veers off to the north of Nevada right there, but it is now upon Highway 69 and I-49. If you got to move up to the north on either one of those major thoroughfares, you are going to get poured on. Now, we don't have any lightning. We've been able to escape any watches and warnings, but we are watching the creeks and the streams up in that northern section because that's where the majority of yesterday's rain fell as well. And then it just is going to continue all the way through Thursday morning. Get down to the central and southern portions of the 4 states. It's cloudy, but it is dry. Temperatures in the mid to high 40s right now after sunrise at 6:53. It's going to take a while for the clouds to clear off. Wind is going to be the main thing we got to battle for the afternoon. And then we gradually clear out for the afternoon and early evening. So we'll get a little late sunshine. Thunderstorm activity going to reappear after a warm Friday. It'll move in from the west Friday night, carry us into Saturday, and after it's done Saturday mid to late morning, much cooler to begin our weekend. Nice little rebound though, mostly sunny skies and mid-70s on Sunday. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We find ourselves on a Med-Day Thursday, and we are fortunate enough to be joined by somebody donating a lot of their time to this show to help answer a whole lot of questions that we all have during the pandemic. It is the Crawford County Health Officer. His name is Dr. Tim Stebbins. Doctor, I want to thank you, number one, for joining us this morning, and I'm going to jump right into it. I'm hearing a phrase that is called vaccine hesitancy. I hear that being thrown around a lot. I don't know what it is. Can you kind of describe that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the main things that we're trying to get out right now is the vaccine. In an effort to get back to normalcy on our life and defeat this COVID-19 virus, we have got to get people vaccinated. Through the state of Kansas and Missouri, we're doing better with respect to our case numbers and overcoming this virus. But the problem that we're having now is early on, we had a very motivated group of persons that wanted to be vaccinated, the 65 and older. They were the high risk, highly likely to be injured or killed by COVID-19. And they accepted the vaccine quickly. They were in line to get it done. Now we've completed that group mostly. We're about 80% complete in Crawford County of those that, and that's probably those that want it. We've got them done. But now we're into the younger age group, and we're finding vaccine hesitancy in that 25 to 45-year-old age group, meaning that's the group that knows that it's out there, that knows that there's a vaccine available, but they're hesitant to get it for a variety of reasons.
Okay, Dr. Stebbins, tell me why. What are you hearing? What are you hearing personally and professionally? Why are they hesitant?
So some of it is, things are looking better, so I'm probably just going to wait. I think things are settling down, and I don't need to be a part of that vaccine group. Some of it is we don't know how long the vaccine lasts. We don't know what the long-term effects are. There's a lot of theories related to vaccine that are complete, trash, if I could be frank.
No, I appreciate your honesty.
And some people just don't like getting shots. They're a busy group, right?
Yeah.
And so trying to get the shots.
But you say they're a busy group, but at the same point in time, vaccine availability, it appears here in the 4 states, really hasn't been a problem. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, in fact, we've got 2,000 doses sitting waiting to be given right now in Crawford County. That we're trying to get out. The busy group is also part of my concern because the most mobile group that we have is that group. You can do 18 to 45. They're the ones that get out the most. They touch both the children and the older adults in their life because that's, they're kind of in that middle group. They travel the most. They're most likely to get it and transmit it. They may not be as sick as the older group, but they can sure bring it to somebody that can die from it.
Dr. Stebbins, I'm going to ask you a huge favor right here, because when you talk about the mobility of that age group, can you stick around and maybe join us here in the next half hour with some additional questions I may have?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Dr. Tim Stebbins, Crawford County medical officer right there. Doctor, I'm going to rejoin you in just a second. We got a hard break coming up. We'll be back with more KOAM morning news right after this. And then north of Nevada. And remember, coming off of yesterday, this is where the majority of the rain fell in the northern portion of the 4 states. So our creeks and streams are starting to swell up there in the north. Now, everybody for the central and southern portion going to be a pretty mild morning, just cool. Now, after this passes through late morning, we'll actually have gradually clearing skies and sunshine later on throughout Thursday.
Pitt State and Missouri Southern report no new COVID cases on campus. What health officials say is behind this encouraging data. Plus tips on how you can curb some of the side effects of getting the vaccine, and more medical marijuana dispensaries open in Missouri. How supply is keeping up with demand.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Some of the 4 states is getting a little bit of rain this morning. Other parts are avoiding it once again. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Here's what we got coming down, Tanya. We're right along Highway 69 and I-49. We've got heavy rain lasting on a line there, making its way through Fort Scott, headed toward Nevada, kind of jaunting up to the northeast after it makes its way across the state line into southwest Missouri. Get to Pittsburgh, all the way down to the south. It's going to be dry, yet cloudy and cool this morning as temperatures range in the mid to high 40s. And even up in the north, starting to drop down into the low 40s, 43 right now in Iola. That cold front from yesterday pushing its way all the way to the Mississippi. Severe thunderstorm activity stays off on the other side of the river. We don't have any watches or warnings to worry about. We're just watching rain accumulation up to the north coming off of what we've had for the past 2 mornings. Gradually clearing skies this afternoon. It'll be high 60s in the south, probably only low 60s though in the north where the rain is falling right now. A little bit of afternoon and evening sunshine. Friday's shaping up to be a great start. Going to be a warm one all the way up into the mid to high 70s. And then Friday night into Saturday, here come more thunderstorms. Going to push us through into Saturday with cooler temps to start, but a great looking Sunday, mostly cloudy and back into the 70s.
Yeah.
Looks
I like that Sunday forecast.
Yeah, Sunday's going to be great to get outside.
Yeah.
A little bit chilly on Saturday and rainy.
Might try to plan something for Sunday.
Yeah.
That'd be the time to do it. All right, good idea. It'll be cold in the morning though if it's going to be low as 44.
Yeah, but it's going to be a quick warm up on Sunday.
Good to know. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, both MSSU and PSU report no new COVID-19 cases in last week, and that's part of an ongoing trend on the campuses. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to health officials at both universities to find out what's behind this encouraging coronavirus data.
On Wednesday, PSU reported 0 new coronavirus cases from the prior week and said it's part of a campus trend that started back on March 10th. And they're not the only 4-state college seeing success battling COVID-19. A quick glance at MSSU's COVID-19 dashboard shows the Joplin College also reporting 0 new cases last week, which happens to be the week after students returned from spring break.
We were a little bit worried since we took the regular spring break. We were very pleased to see that cases have still continued on a downward path.
Dr. Julie Wingert is not only the interim vice president of student affairs at MSSU, but also the co-chair of the college's COVID task force. She credits the college's diminishing case numbers to students and faculty taking the pandemic seriously.
There's a strong culture of taking care of each other here. We still have enforced the mask policy, even though the city mask policy has expired. We are still using the Campus Clear app to track our symptoms every day.
MSSU sophomore Clayton Newton says he feels safer on campus knowing COVID-19 numbers are significantly down, but also says it's not time to let up on safety precautions.
Anytime I get out the house, I always keep my mask on, I social distance, and maybe hopefully somebody sees that and, takes action and replicates what I do.
A representative for PSU's Bryant Student Health Center wasn't available for an on-camera interview, but she also credits PSU's low COVID-19 case count with students and staff handling pandemic restrictions with maturity, and says the Crawford County Health Department has also been an excellent partner in the fight against the coronavirus. In Pittsburgh and Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
If you'd like to see MSSU and PSU's online coronavirus information hubs, you can check out the link to them in this article at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, some four-staters report side effects from the second COVID-19 dose. Dr. Eden Esgura with Mercy Hospital in Joplin says the potential side effects are broken up into two categories, what they call local and systemic. The local side effects come from where you actually get the shot in your arm and usually include pain, redness, and swelling, which Dr. Esgura says is quite common. It's the systemic effects, which are felt throughout your body, like fever, aches, and pains and nausea, which are causing some discomfort.
You just get Tylenol or sometimes the non-steroidals, the Motrin, ibuprofen, and they are expected to go away within 24 hours or so. You make sure you are hydrated, and you might need to cut back on your regular daily activities.
That'll be a stick.
Dr. Esgura wants to remind folks who are vaccinated to continue to wear a mask if they are with people who are not fully vaccinated. Mercy Hospital is accepting vaccine appointments from all Missouri adults starting today. That's a day before the state of Missouri opens vaccine registration to all Missouri adults. You can register for an appointment through Mercy's website. You can find a link to make an appointment on our website. If you have any questions for experts about the vaccine, you can ask those on our website too. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vaccine. There you'll find a form to fill out some basic information and pose a question. You can also find a list of upcoming vaccine clinics. Again, you can find the form and the list at KOAMnewsnow.com/vaccine. Medical marijuana supply in Southwest Missouri is growing. For the last several months, medical marijuana dispensaries have been slowly adding to the product lines as more product becomes available. It's been a long road for infused product facilities that sell things like edibles and concentrates to dispensaries, but products are starting to hit the market more and more.
We have quite a few more cultivators coming up. We have more manufacturing facilities, so supply is doing a lot better now than it was when we first opened, for sure. So it's just a matter of a little more patience, and we'll see it improve.
Flora Farms, a company with a cultivation facility in Humansville, tells us their operation has been up and going for 3 months. So the flower they produced is being sold to dispensaries across the state. 6:07.
Rain is beginning to lighten up a little bit on the northern part of Southwest Missouri. Still got one there right over Highway 69 in between Pittsburgh and Fort Scott that's really coming down, everything pushing across the state line east. And starting to also to some good news, even though it's making a little southerly push, starting to lighten up on the west side. Haven't had any lightning, no warnings or watches to be concerned about either. Gradually clearing off, should be done with this by about the noon hour. High 60s today, high 70s for Friday, and then thunderstorm activity Friday night into Saturday morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the trend of dressing down.
There's casual clothing, and there's this. I'm Kate Smith with how the nap dress became the fashion statement of the pandemic.
Plus, the COVID variant out of the UK sparks fears of another wave, why younger Americans are more at risk. And it's Midday Thursday. We talked to a local doctor about vaccine hesitation and misconceptions. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, the pandemic changed many things, including the clothing we wear. Kate Smith looks at how one dress capitalized on the trend of dressing down.
First of all, before I speak about the nap dress, you have to understand that I am a dress girl. I do not like pants.
So dresses were on Nell Diamond's mind when she started her fashion and lifestyle brand Hill House Home.
I really wanted to create a product that was a dress that could kind of carry me from making my toddler breakfast in the morning to an important meeting to drinks with my husband after work.
In 2019, the nap dress was born with some success. But then the pandemic hit. Lockdowns and working from home turned the house dress meets nightgown into an internet sensation.
This is my nap dress collection. As you can see behind me, I've got 6.
I'm in my powder blue Nestle, which is absolutely gorgeous.
I don't love them. I am totally obsessed with them.
Vogue magazine even named it one of the 17 items that define 2020.
The nap dress definitely exceeded all of our expectations and all of our projections.
What makes a nap dress unique?
The real beauty and importance of distinction of the nap dress, I should say, is that it's both beautiful and practical at the same time.
The success of the nap dress comes as demand for comfortable clothing surges.
Last year, sales of sweatpants, sleepwear, and slippers jumped, with millions of people stuck at home.
Comfort was something that was on the forefront.
Stylist Trey Ingram says many of his clients' tastes changed during the pandemic.
Hey, I want comfortable shoes, or I want comfortable sweats, I want comfortable tops. Like, it did not matter what it was, they just want something comfortable.
Ingram believes people are ready to dress up again as life inches back to normal. But Diamond thinks the nap dress has staying power.
People now get to show off their nap dresses in real life. Just wait till you see this in person, wait till you see it with shoes.
And that's why she has even more collections planned this spring. Kate Smith, CBS News, New York.
Honestly, they remind me a little bit of bridesmaid dresses. They're both beautiful and hideous looking at the same time. Just my opinion, though. Americans are traveling again after a year of COVID lockdowns and stay-at-home orders. Both Uber and Lyft say they're struggling to meet the renewed demand for their services. The main problem is a lack of drivers. Many left the business last year when there was not enough rides to go around. To lure them back and to recruit new ones, Uber is launching a $250 million stimulus plan. It will award bonuses to drivers who complete a certain number of trips. Well, Best Buy is testing out a new membership program for its customers. The $200 a year plan offers more than just free shipping. It includes unlimited tech support from the electronic chain's Geek Squad, as well as free installation for most items. Best Buy is now testing the idea in parts of Iowa, Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania. Sam Adams is giving out beer money to encourage vaccination. The brand said on its website that it's looking forward to friends once again being able to gather in their favorite bars and restaurants. For that to happen on a broad scale, the coronavirus has to be defeated. And full vaccination is the best way to do that. Starting April 12th, if you post your vaccination sticker or bandage, I didn't get one, the company will send you $7 through the Cash App for a beer at your favorite bar. Remember to include hashtag #ShotForSam and tag @SamuelAdamsBeer on Instagram or Twitter. That's it from Money Watch. We'll be right back.
We got vaccine passports over here. I was looking at the rain.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I was looking at rain accumulation numbers anyway. Want to pay attention to everybody up in the north because that's where we're starting to see the streaks. The creeks and the streams fill up, coming off of the rain that we had yesterday, approaching, getting close to 2 inches there in some places. When we look at the 48-hour time span, we've got that band of heavy rain that is making its way right across the state line. In between, it's going to fall in between Nevada and Lamar. And then we've got another one starting to gain intensity up by Burlington that's going to drop through, take that same pattern. So while we've seen a little southerly push, the majority of the heavy rain for our far northern counties haven't picked up any lightning, so that's a good thing. And we'll still get highs in the high 60s here later on this afternoon. Be back right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. On this Med Day Thursday, we were fortunate enough to be joined by Dr. Tim Stebbins, not only in charge of our health concerns for Crawford County, Kansas, but he's also the head of the emergency room department at Via Christi Hospital, Ascension Via Christi in Pittsburgh. Doc, thank you for coming back and joining us for round 2 here. Earlier, you and I were talking about what's called vaccine hesitation, and you were specifically targeting an age group from 18 to 45. Now, that age group probably able to withstand the effects of COVID-19 maybe the best. But it's not, it's not the fact that you may contract it, it's those around you that you come into contact with.
right? Honestly, this isn't about them on that. This is about who they're going to contact. And really what I want you to think about in that age group is, yes, you're protecting yourself. That's important.
Sure.
But as important or more importantly, you're protecting those loved ones, family, friends, coworkers, employers that you're around that may not have great immunity, and especially the older people. And so since it is such a mobile group, since it is a group that travels a lot and visits, quite frankly, family a lot, especially around holidays, they need to get vaccinated. That helps us prevent the spread. As we try to develop a herd immunity in our community, we've got to get the most mobile group vaccinated. That helps us stop COVID-19 in its tracks.
One last question before we get out of here, Dr. Stebbins. The most common question that people approach you with when it comes to vaccine hesitancy, what is it and how do you answer it?
So it's two, and I'll make it quick. One is, how long does it last? I will tell you, 3 months ago, after 3 months of data, they said it lasted 3 months. And I said then, as we get to 6 months and 9 months, they'll increase it. Yesterday, they came out and said, we have 6 months of data and it works for 6 months. And I anticipate that we'll go to 9 months in a year. So it's effective in the long term. The second thing is the people are concerned about the long-term effects of vaccination. And these types of vaccines have been around actually for quite some time. And we've got a lot of data to show that they are safe and effective. Now, this is all risk benefit. I ask you, what's the long-term effects of your cell phone? And people don't know, but they don't care because they like to use it.
Right.
And it's beneficial. So I ask you to look at the vaccine in the same way. There is significant benefit for you, your family, your community by getting vaccinated and helping us stop COVID-19 now. And so it's safe, it's effective, it will help you, it will help your family. Please get that done.
And as Dr. Stebbins told us earlier, multiple vaccines, and while he's the Chief Health Officer for Crawford County, Kansas, we know that there are plenty of vaccines available as well in Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Doctor, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know you're a very busy man, and thank you for taking care of the 4 states.
We appreciate it. Thank you for getting this message out.
All right, we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, cases of COVID-19 are spiking again around the nation, and the CDC says a contagious variant from the UK is the cause. Naomi Ruckham explains what some health experts are warning could become a 4th surge.
The most contagious strain of COVID-19 first seen in the UK is now the most common variant in the US.
Hospitals are seeing more and more younger adults, those in their 30s and 40s, admitted with severe disease.
Nearly half of all new cases are being reported in just 5 states: New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida. New York alone has seen more than 50,000 new cases just in the last week, with the positivity rate above 3.5%. In neighboring New Jersey, the positivity rate has climbed to nearly 9%. There's also concern about high rates among 12 to 17-year-olds. Public health experts say COVID variants are more transmissible among kids.
Across the country, we are hearing reports of clusters of cases associated with daycare centers and youth sports.
And there's growing debate over vaccine passports, proof you've had your COVID shot.
Vaccine mandates have been upheld for over a century, both by government and by employers. But those are typically well-known, well-established vaccines.
As some businesses consider mandating them, there are concerns over privacy from both the White House and some governors.
Yeah, I have no intention of doing vaccine passports. Our vaccine passport is get the shot.
About 1 in 4 adults in the U.S. are now fully vaccinated against the virus. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
There is also new hope on the vaccine front. A team in California is developing a vaccine pill that could eventually replace the shot. Doctors say a vaccine that could be kept at room temperature would be life-changing. Some people hate shots, so there you go. Fathers-to-be in Utah will soon be required to pay half of the mother's pregnancy cost. The law signed by the governor last month says fathers must pay half the prenatal medical bills, cost associated with the birth, and half of any insurance premiums. Critics worry it could Supporters counter by saying women are not required to seek financial help from the fathers. Utah's measure is the first standalone mandate for support. Sorry about that. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Rain making a little push into the south central portion of the 4 states. It's not going to make it below I-44. Kind of a horseshoe is what it does as it comes up from the northwest, drops down just about to Pittsburgh, and then makes its way back up to the northeast through Nevada. We've lost the very heavy rain that we had earlier, haven't had any lightning, and still able to avoid any watches or warnings for our Thursday morning. But the creeks and streams, especially for our northern counties, beginning to swell coming off of the rain that we had not only yesterday morning, but still coming down through the late morning today. 48 in Joplin, 48 in Independence, and 46s in both Fort Scott and Nevada as the wind moves in from the west. We will have gradually clearing skies here once this is done later this morning, and even a little sunshine. It's also going to be windy out there. We'll have westerly gusts 35, 40 miles per hour. Now, after we're done with everything, Friday is actually going to be just delightful. As a matter of fact, Friday is going to be warm. We'll be all the way up into the 70s. But now Friday night, here we go. We're going to go at it from the west, and it's going to carry us all the way into Saturday morning, where Saturday is going to be much, much cooler. Highs only around 58 degrees. Sunday is going to be the day to get out and enjoy some 4-state fresh air. Mostly sunny skies, and a quick warm-up puts us up into the mid-70s. And then we are shaping up for what's looking like a wet next week.
Pitt State and Missouri Southern report no new COVID cases on campus. What health officials say is behind this encouraging data. Plus tips on how you can curb some of the side effects of getting the vaccine, and more medical marijuana dispensaries open in Missouri. How supply is keeping up with demand.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. A cool, cloudy morning throughout the 4 states, and many of us are seeing quite a bit of rain for a second day in a row. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Especially up to the north, Tanya. And now we have seen a little southerly push of this system, almost makes a U shape, if you will, comes in from the northwest, sweeps down into the central portion, and then back up to the northeast through Nevada. We, at one point in time, were getting absolutely poured on up to the north, so it has lightened up a little bit. Haven't had any lightning, and no watches, no warnings associated with it, so it's more showers than anything else. It is cool outside. 48 in Joplin, let's go 49 in Parsons, 47 in Stockton. Now, the big system is actually on the other side of the Mississippi River right there. We're picking up real good thunderstorm activity along the Gulf Coast, and then it makes its way up toward the Tennessee River Valley. Our system is more so just April showers than anything else. As far as our weather trend goes today, temperatures are going to be able to get up into the 60s, gradually clearing skies, but a windy one as well. So watch out for the west gusts of 30, 35 miles per hour. Overnight, winds are going to shift, move in from the south, feed us some nice warm temperatures for Friday. Now, speaking of Friday, nighttime brings additional thunderstorm activity coming from west to east, rolling over on it just in time for a cool, wet Saturday. Sunday, though, that's going to be the day to enjoy some fresh air, as we're going to have mostly sunny skies and be in the mid-70s to end the weekend.
Kidding. It'll be nice.
Like I said, so far so good with the just keeping it as showers. No lightning to worry about this morning.
There we go.
We like that.
All right. Thanks, Michael. On Wednesday, PSU reported 0 new coronavirus cases from the prior week and said it's part of a campus trend that started back on March 10th. And they're not the only four-state college seeing success battling COVID-19. Quick glance at MSSU's COVID-19 dashboard showing the Joplin College also reporting 0 new cases last week, which happens to be the week after students returned from spring break.
We were a little bit worried since we took the regular spring break. We were very pleased to see that cases have still continued on a downward path.
Health officials at both colleges credit the encouraging campus COVID-19 data to student populations and faculty that take the pandemic restrictions very seriously. Well, some four-staters report side effects from the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. KOAM's Chris Warner shares one woman's experience and what you can do to help curb the side effects.
Amber Hoffman has had both COVID-19 shots, and while the first dose's side effects were mild, the second dose hit a little harder.
There was a lot more pain. It swelled up more to the point to where it bruised. I did feel some fatigue. I had a headache the next day. The fatigue lasted about 2 days. The headache was about 1 day, and the arm soreness lasted about a week.
She says with the first dose, she did try some Tylenol, but didn't take anything with the second dose. Dr. Eden Esquera is an infectious disease specialist at Mercy Hospital in Joplin. She says there are some things you can do if you experience side effects.
You just get Tylenol, or sometimes the non-steroidals, the Motrin, ibuprofen, and they are expected to go away within 24 hours or so. You make sure you are hydrated, and you might need to cut back on your regular daily activities.
We also asked Dr. Esquera if there's anything you can do ahead of your second dose to prevent possible side effects.
The short of the long is not really, but you can probably make sure you're well rested and prepare yourself psychologically. Again, you may want to cut back on scheduled activities just in case you get some side effects.
For those worried about long-term side effects,
Nothing else has happened at all. As a matter of fact, even after the vaccine, when I had a headache and fatigue, I was still able to work. It didn't prevent me from being able to do my daily functions. It was just a slight inconvenience.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Dr. Esquera wants to remind folks who are vaccinated to continue to wear a mask if you are with people who are not fully vaccinated. Area health providers say they're seeing an increased demand for the more convenient one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They also told us last week it's hard to come by. But yesterday we learned that the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas is offering the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine at all of its locations. The vaccine is recommended for use on people ages 18 and older. You can schedule an appointment with CHC SEK through their website. That's chcsek.org. For the latest news and resources related to the COVID-19 vaccine, go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/vaccine. On that same page, you'll find a form that you can fill out to send us your questions about the COVID-19 and vaccine distribution. Again, that's at KOAMnewsnow.com/vaccine. Medical marijuana supply in Southwest Missouri is growing. For the last several months, medical marijuana dispensaries have been slowly adding to the product lines as more product becomes available. It's been a long road for infused product facilities that sell things like edibles and concentrates to dispensaries, but products are starting to hit the market more and more.
We have quite a few more cultivators coming up. We have more manufacturing facilities, so supply is doing a lot better now than it was when we first opened, for sure. So it's just a matter of a little more patience, and we'll see it improve.
Flora Farms, a company with a cultivation facility in Humansville, tells us their operation has been up and going for 3 months. So the flower they produce is being sold to dispensaries across the state. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Executive actions.
The White House will unveil a new plan of action on gun control today. I'm Naomi Ruckham with the new mandates geared at preventing mass shootings.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we're asking, do you think vaccine passports are a good idea? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
Overcast skies for the central and southern portion of the 4 states. Work your way from the central up to the north. That's where we've got showers. Have not picked up any lightning. And even though there's a lot of green, you're just starting to lighten up a little bit. We've lost the pockets of extremely heavy rain that were coming down on Highway 69 and I-49 from earlier. Still going to get a little dose of sunshine later this afternoon and evening. Highs in the high 60s. A warm Friday and Friday night, bringing additional thunderstorms into Saturday.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, a rash of deadly shootings prompts the White House to take action. Today, President Biden is expected to unveil a series of executive actions aimed at reducing gun violence. Naomi Ruckham reports from New York.
Most of President Biden's actions tackle relatively minor issues, like a revision of the federal government's definition of firearm.
No one is talking about overturning or changing the Second Amendment.
Another targets so-called ghost guns, weapons assembled from kits that have no serial numbers. The president will reportedly order the Justice Department to try to limit their availability. Recent mass shootings in Georgia and Colorado have renewed calls for action by advocacy groups. Last month, President Biden called on Congress to restore the federal assault weapon ban that expired in 2004.
There was law for the longest time, and it brought down these mass killings.
Senate Democrats are promising action, but it's unclear if any Republicans will join them.
This Senate will be different. The Senate is going to debate and address the epidemic of gun violence in this country.
I'm certainly open to the discussion. What I'm not attracted to is something that doesn't work.
President Biden is expected to nominate David Chipman to head the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Chipman is a former ATF agent who has long been an advocate of stronger gun control laws. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Congress has not approved the nomination of a permanent ATF director since 2013. The agency has been led by a series of acting directors since 2015. In the murder trial of fired Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, a use of force expert testified Chauvin had his knee and most of his weight on George Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes. There was also extensive testimony about Floyd's use of drugs, including whether video of his arrest shows him saying he does not do drugs or that he ate too many drugs. Prosecutors replayed the video from an earlier point, saying it's open to interpretation. CDC says the more contagious COVID variant first detected in the UK has now become the most common coronavirus strain in the U.S. Despite a recent drop in the number of deaths, case counts and hospitalizations are on the rise. Most Americans who have received stimulus checks are putting them into their savings accounts instead of spending them right away. A survey by the Federal Reserve shows households intend to set aside 42% of their stimulus payments for a rainy day. 34% are using the coronavirus stimulus money to pay down debt. The Fed survey estimates only about a quarter of the checks are going towards spending. The Internal Revenue Service sent out 130 million payments by the end of March, with more on the way. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, a growing number of states are coming forward with their own plans to use what are being called COVID-19 vaccine passports. And although there's no federal plan to implement any kind of passport system in the U.S., supporters argue it would help safely reopen the nation. Our question to you, do you think vaccine passports are a good idea? Guy Hansen says Florida and New York, two fine examples. One state heavily leaning towards some form of hybrid Marxist socialism, and the other standing up for individual liberty in the Constitution. Guy says battle lines are drawn. It's past time to make a stand against the vile, diabolical powers consuming the federal government and destroying the greatest country on earth. Kelly Blundell says abso-bleeping not. It's ridiculous that this is even a question and that people are actually okay with this. Dave Sorek says no, but I'm not surprised that the New York governor is embracing the idea. Seems he has a bit of a problem with boundaries. Greg Walden, show us your papers. John Trebian says no, I do not. The choice of getting the vaccine or not is up to the individual. After all, this is America. Good morning, KOAM. Good morning, America. And we say good morning, John. On the Insta poll this morning, we're up to 60% of you saying no, you do not think vaccine passports are a good idea. Plenty of time to make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero. Second-class Petty Officer Robert Murphy served in the United States Navy. He served from 1968 to 1970 during Vietnam, his hometown, Pittsburgh, Kansas. We are proud to salute Robert Murphy, our four-state hero.
We will get our list started off with Marjorie Falk. Smiling Marjorie celebrating her second birthday. Have a great day, kiddo, in Pittsburgh.
All right, up next, we've got Henry Gabbard, turned 5 years old. There he is with the baby chicks in Moran, Kansas. Happy birthday, Henry.
Picture. That's good. Allie Ard, she's celebrating her 17th birthday. We're going to turn the clock back a little bit. Happy birthday to Allie in Moran.
She looks like a little baby doll. Oh, what a cutie there. Hunter Alters is celebrating. Hey, it's Hunter. You're 20 years old. Hope you have a great birthday. Happy birthday, Hunter.
Garrett Baker, he's turning 23. Great picture right there. Happy birthday to Garrett in Neodesha. And Garrett, these birthday wishes come with love from Mom.
Lindsay Lee Tuba celebrating number 30 this year. Hope you have a great one, Lindsay.
In Iowa, Susie Jackman, she's celebrating her 74th birthday. A happy birthday to you, Miss Susie.
Cleo Natalini celebrating number 93 this year. Happy birthday, Miss Cleo. She's in front.
And in Chanute, we've got Emily Alonzo. Happy birthday, Emily.
And Justin Payne in Frontenac celebrating another year wiser. Looks like he's got some beach behind him. Nice.
Nice, relaxing birthday photo right there. Julia Dooley. A happy birthday in Webb City. Kim Likert, Kim celebrating in West Mineral. And Lucia Biancarelli, a happy 93 in Radley. One more to pass along. We want to wish a very happy birthday to Mr. Melvin Stewart. Yeah, Mr. Melvin loves his cows, and he is celebrating in Bronson. Happy birthday, Melvin. I bet he's out working them right now.
Yeah.
Happy birthday and happy anniversary
Gotta take
to
care
all.
of the girls.
On this April the 8th, now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of our KOAM birthday club by going to our website and signing up, and you get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Sign up for the KOAM birthday club today.
Let's take a live look outside of Television City. Overcast skies for the majority of the four states. Now we can concentrate on our rain that's coming down in our northern counties. Almost a horseshoe shape, if you will, as it sweeps in from the northwest, drops down to the central portion, and then it reverts back up to the northeast. Now, it has lightened up a little bit. While it's got a more widespread as we've worked through Thursday morning, we're not seeing the torrential rainfall that we had earlier. We've been able to avoid any lightning. Also, too, no watches or warnings to speak of. But when you combine this morning's rain with what we had yesterday, especially in the north, we're pushing past an inch right there, so keep your eyes on the creeks and the streams as it's going to keep on raining here for the next couple of hours. The severe weather really, though, is on the other side of the Mississippi. Ours are April showers. Get to the trough of the jet stream right there. It's pushing through the Tennessee River Valley, and you've got thunderstorms ranging all the way from there down to the southern portion of the Gulf Coast. Matter of fact, they've got some severe thunderstorm warnings that have just popped up here in about the past 20 minutes. Backside of it, high pressure system. We're just going to have to wait a day to kind of clear off. We'll get some sunshine, but it's going to be a little bit, and that's why there's a chill in the air this morning. 47 in Neosho. Let's go 46 in Miami, 49 in Independence. You haven't seen anybody get to the 50-degree mark at 10 till the top of the hour. Our wind's also going to increase today, working from the west right now. It's not too bad. We've been able to avoid 20 miles per hour. 17 is what we're kicking up in Nevada, but we'll be close to 35 mile per hour gusts here this afternoon. After the rain's done, gradually clearing skies, some late afternoon and early evening sunshine, and highs in the mid to high 60s. And that's really right on par for April 8th. That's not unusual one bit. Overnight, mostly clear. Now the wind's going to shift, and what that's going to do is make for a warm Friday. Matter of fact, Friday, we're going to be throwing up temps in the 70s. But Friday night, here we go. Thunderstorms move in from the south and the west, carry us into Saturday morning and cooler temps on the backside of it. Saturday is going to be a little bit chilly and a little bit wet, but look at Sunday. My goodness, mostly sunny skies, highs around 74 degrees. Got outdoor plans. Sunday is the day to capitalize upon that. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News next. Couple more comments to get to regarding the COVID-19 passport, vaccine passport. Sarah Clemens says, bad idea because we're supposed to be living in a free country and I shouldn't have to get a passport to go from state to state. Christine Shaw asks, why on earth would it matter with all the illegals let in and free to roam? John Thomas comes in with a resounding no. And Glenn Ritchie says, I got the vaccine and see no problem with it. However, the idea of making folks get it or else is ridiculous. This is the United States of America, after all. Good morning, KOAM News Team. Good morning, KOAM Country. And to you, we say good morning, Glenn. Final look at our Insta poll this morning. Now down to 55%. It's been in between about 52 and 60% of you saying no. You do not think that vaccine passports are a good idea. Appreciate all the engagement this morning. And now, back to Tanya.
All right. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Mercy Hospital is accepting vaccine appointments from all Missouri adults starting today. That's a day before the state of Missouri opens vaccine registration to all Missouri adults. You can register for an appointment through Mercy's website, and you can find a link to make an appointment on our website. On Wednesday, PSU reported no new coronavirus cases from the prior week and said it's part of a campus trend that started back on March 10th. And they're not the only four-state college seeing success battling COVID-19. A quick glance at MSSU's COVID-19 dashboard shows the Joplin College also reporting 0 new cases last week, which happens to be the week after students returned from spring break. Some four-staters report side effects from the second COVID-19 dose. Dr. Eden Esgura with Mercy Hospital in Joplin says the potential side effects are broken up into 2 categories, what they call local and systemic. The local side effects come from where you actually get the shot in your arm and usually include pain, redness, and swelling, which Dr. Esgura says is quite common. It's the systemic effects, which are felt throughout your body, like fever, aches, pains, and nausea, which are causing some discomfort. Medical marijuana supply in Southwest Missouri is growing. For the last several months, medical marijuana dispensaries have been slowly adding to the product lines as more product becomes available. It's been a long road for infused product facilities that sell things like edibles and concentrates to dispensaries. But products are starting to hit the market more and more. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Roll through the Skywatch Storm Tracker one more time. If you're headed up to the north or living up there, don't go anywhere without the umbrella because the rain's going to persist through the late morning hours. When we finally break that up, we'll get some late afternoon, early evening sunshine. It is going to be a windy one out of the west. Tomorrow, just about warm, talking high 70s. Thunderstorm activity Friday night into Saturday, and a little chill in the air to begin our weekend, but close it out on Sunday with mostly sunny skies and highs up into the mid-70s.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we've got another delightful recipe from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And of course, your morning news continues on KOAM, CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you could switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
Going to check back in with Dr. Tim Stebbins, the Chief Medical Officer of Crawford County. He's going to talk about what's called vaccine hesitancy and also availability. He does a really good job breaking down a certain age group, too, that not only has an effect on our older family members, but also the little ones. You're not going to want to miss that interview coming up on Fox 14. I want you to have a great, safe Thursday. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.